there we are.
All right, man.
Yeah, how you doing, bro?
I've been, it's life's about as good as it's gonna get right now.
Actually, that's facts. That's facts. I don't know. It's just like weird talking behind the mask. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it works, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know. Like I've been trying to do them. I did one with Teddy,
Oh my god.
and like I did it over Discord.
Uh-huh.
Cause like, how am I supposed to like interview people in person?
Yeah.
And like, this is I don't know. This is like the best we're gonna get. Like,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
masks.
Not
It's
much you can
annoying.
do.
Right. But yeah. I just wanted to talk to you. Like, I'm trying to think like, Teddy. He has like a certain aspect that's
Yeah, for
interesting
sure.
in him, and but like for you, like you have a really interesting perspective. Like, I see you as like someone who is like this like loud kid who's on the football team, and like
Yeah.
it's like you're very confident.
Yeah.
And I wanted
okay.
to talk to you about that. Like, I wanted to talk. Like, is there something where you get that confidence from? Like, was it like
So,
a choice that you made or something like that?
I don't know if it's necessarily a choice, but like I feel like confidence is it's a reflection of how you feel about yourself, you know. You can't be confident like you can't show people that you're confident if you're not comfortable with yourself
Right.
and who
Right.
you are on your own. Like for example, I'm really into football and everybody knows that and
Yeah.
they see that in me, so that's like an aspect of my life that everybody knows about and I'm confident about.
Right.
So,
Right. I mean, that's like. Do you think, for me, like, if it's a very like active decision to like gauge like, oh, like should I say this? Is it the right thing
Yeah.
to say? And like, I'm aware for me, confidence is more of like an active choice.
mhm.
And like if I am not feeling right that day, it might
Yeah.
alter like how I'm feeling and how I want to like be and talk to people.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like would football be like a source of that like root
I don't
of,
know
like,
if it's necessarily football, but all the work in you put like behind the scenes,
Mm.
like lifting, working out, and there's plenty of aspects of football that can knock you down and completely destroy your confidence.
Mm.
Like I was talking to you the other day about how my recruiting process,
Right, right.
and how I kind of got a little screwed over. It was a really stressful situation,
Yeah.
and that knocked me down, dude. Like that was like a point of that I noticed, like, wow, like I don't have a lot of time left now, and I'm in a tough situation. That kind of knocked me off my high horse.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, is there like a balance that you have to play? Like you have to be in check. You have to like to. You said high horse. Like feel that confidence. Like do you have to be playing football? Like if you didn't have that, would you still have that like self like that image like? You said you have to be comfortable with your own skin. Like how else
Yeah.
do you think you would be comfortable?
Well, I think I'm just not. I'm also not really a person that thinks a lot about the outcome of a situation necessarily.
Right.
And
Which I honestly think is a good thing.
yeah, so I was watching this interview of this guy, and he was saying, when you start to feel anxiety, it's because you're thinking too much about the outcome of a situation,
Right.
and instead focus on the task at hand and the problem that you're facing, and then you'll feel less anxiety and
Right.
less, you'll feel more confident about yourself because you're focused more on the actual problem than what's going to happen.
Right, and that's like what I think you have down, like from what I see, and like, and this is why I wanted to talk to you because like,
Yeah.
this is like a platform maybe people can see like, oh, this is what goes beyond Max Rom's head,
Yeah.
like from what I see is like, a confident kid and like who like you democracy class, you're saying some funny shit, like it's just like
Yeah.
it's like that's what you are, and like for me, I'm like, I feel like I'm like, oh, like I can think my way out of this situation, and then just
Yeah.
like then I never end up doing anything.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
a constant like grinding of the gears behind the scenes for me, and it's because I am like focused on that outcome and like
Yeah.
I have to look on
Exactly.
the past or the future, and I think what you have down pat is like really like focusing on the present, and like that is something admirable. Like I
Yeah.
really admire that.
So I think a lot of people do see me like that. They see like this kid who's gonna crack a joke in
Yeah.
class.
Right.
But it's not just that. Like you have to have that same mutual respect for your teacher or whoever you're talking to. Really, you can't just be loud and boisterous and obnoxious all the time. You have to understand when you're gonna be serious and when you show a good deal of respect to somebody
Right.
instead of just screwing around and cracking jokes.
You think you get that from like football? Like, isn't there like a lot of like
I think-
respect that goes on there?
I think discipline in football definitely has something to do with that, because with football or really any sport, like you're not just relying on yourself. Even with track, like it's I'm throwing the shot put.
Right.
It's on me to perform well, but after I compete, I still have all my teammates to back up, and it's as a leader on that team, you have to be able to get behind them and get them in the right mindset to compete just like you do.
I feel like one of the things I never got was sports.
Hmm.
Like I'm a Boy Scout. That's where I get my like.
Yeah.
And honestly though, like I take what I can get. Boy Scouts is a really important thing for me because I
Yeah.
have that like community, and like I'm buddies with Tony Totora and he's on the football team.
Yeah.
And it's like I've always admired like the amount of I've never been part of something where everyone's towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Every single person like hands down is trying to
Hmm.
do the same thing. And like that kind of community I feel like would support like friendship and confidence and like happiness and like satisfaction.
Yeah.
Is that true?
So that's an interesting point. Community,
Mm.
that's a huge aspect of everything. And if you can't go somewhere and feel accepted into a community, then I personally don't think I would ever feel confident or comfortable with myself.
Mm.
Because a community, that's everybody together and working towards the same goal, or even just like everybody together accepting everyone.
Right.
So if you can't find a community or a niche or something where you feel comfortable with, then you may never find that true confidence in yourself.
Do you feel like the football team is like an accepting place?
Yeah, it
Really?
definitely is.
Really?
So a lot of people will look at football and they'll think about like hazing,
Right, right.
making fun of freshmen, and that's really not how it is. I mean, like everybody, they mess with the freshmen, but
Yeah.
it's like it's all love. Like you don't join football to be a jock or to just to screw with someone. Like a lot of kids, you'll see tiny little kids that they don't look like they belong on the football field, but they
Mm.
still play football for 4 years,
Oh yeah.
and that's
True.
because they feel that sense of like their community and something they really enjoy and are going to work at, even though they may never see the varsity field. They still have that sense that they're working towards the same thing with everyone else.
That's actually really that's the first time I've heard that. Like I've always had this image of like the football team as being like this kind of like brute like clan of kids who
Yeah,
like
I mean, we definitely are,
yeah
but
like in what way?
well, I mean, we're all meatheads. We
Yeah.
we go pick heavy things up and put them down, but it's like when you're a part of that group, you kind of see it different,
Mm, mm.
and it's definitely like a group that you're not gonna like just like become a part of.
Like you have to earn your stripes kind of way.
Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. Um, I just feel like I don't know. It's not something for everyone.
I mean, that like it's really interesting though that you say like to feel comfortable in your skin you have to feel accepted by the community. And
Yeah.
I feel like definitely high school, that's what we're in. Like high school is definitely a place where you would feel not accepted. Like
Yeah.
where you people like you would for someone who has like my inclinations to tend to overthink things,
Hmm.
like I would think, oh, like I might say this thing to this person and they might think I'm weird, this and that, because I'm
Yeah.
focused on like the outcome and like what
Yeah.
and I'd say like would you say the high school is like an accepting place?
Uh, I mean, it has its up and downs, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's kids that feel, that like they dread high school,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's like me, I feel really comfortable there, and I
Mm,
feel like it's a place that I want to be, and
that's pretty dope.
everything's kind of knocked that down this year.
Yeah,
But
that's so true. That's so true.
it could definitely go either ways for different people.
Well, for you, so for you, it's like the comfortable, like you feel accepted
Yeah.
there. I mean, part of this, like this actual like interview stuff, like a lot of that, I hadn't started because of fear of what people
Hmm.
might think. I was like, what's this kid gonna say? What's that person gonna think?
Yeah.
And like you, at one point, you have to realize like that's not what's important. Like what's important is for me to do what I want to do,
Yeah.
and like eh, there's a lot of other behind the scenes stuff that goes on. Like I haven't made a video in this amount,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm so surprised how accepting and like how many people have reached out to like
Yeah.
me. And like it's like what I'm realizing is that this I once had like these really terrible views about the people around me and thought like
Hmm.
everyone was like sadistic and like everyone hated everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like hang on, like we're all a community. Like we're all just like everyone's rooting for everyone.
I mean, yeah,
Basically.
you're gonna have those people that are gonna want to knock you down because you know they see you doing what you want.
Mm.
But also coming back to overthinking, like that's the biggest killer of everything. Because if you can't get out of your own head and you can't see clear in what you're gonna do, then you're not gonna do it either way.
Right, right, and that's 100% like what that is what I'm like encountering myself, and that's why I kind of wanted to talk to you, maybe
Yeah.
get some insight on that because like I said, I tend to think like I'm so smart that I can think myself out of a
Yeah.
situation, which is literally just that's not how it works.
Uh-huh.
That's not how it works, and it has to be a fine balance between knowing your ability, having confidence in that,
Yeah.
and then like just going after it and trying to get something done.
Yeah.
And it's like it's difficult for me because this is like my own project, but it's like you have like the football and you have the team behind this, like a structure there.
Yeah. So you're working all on your own, is what you're saying, and you don't have anyone backing you.
I mean, I have
Kind of
like,
where are you coming from?
well, it's just like I am trying to find like the secret sauce of not trying to overthink things. But my
Yeah.
question is like, is there a point where like it would like do you wrong? Like for me, I'm focused on the outcome still, but I'm still gonna ask a question like, uh, is there a point where overthinking or not thinking something was the wrong choice?
Yeah, it could definitely get you in a bad situation,
Right.
and it definitely has gotten me in situations that you know weren't the best
Yeah.
with my decisions and my actions. But I feel like if you can find one thing that's like just your thing that you can work on and you can pursue, then you're gonna start to feel that you're more confident in the rest of your life. Maybe that's for you these interviews,
Mm.
or like something else like exercising.
Right.
Writing. People write like poems,
Yeah.
stories, and whatever, and that's their output for how they feel good about themselves.
Right. I mean, that's such an important thing, though. Like,
Yeah.
it really is. Right now, like you said, exercise. Like, I've been running for the past week. I'm doing these like monthly challenges. That's what February
Yeah.
I'm gonna run every day, and like I've found like true like stability in that. And
Yeah.
it's like just something I know I'm gonna do.
It's
And
like it's a structure. It's giving your life a structure,
Right.
in a something to follow.
Right, right, and that's the thing. Like that's what I admire with football is that there is like the structure and there is like an implemented thing where you can just look at and be like, oh yeah, like this is what I do. This
Yeah.
is what I do. And like so for my question is like, so you're gonna plan on playing football in college then?
Yeah.
So what happens after?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, and is that also like looking to the future and like thinking about the outcome of things?
Well,
Like,
when you're making that decision, I mean, college for everyone, you have to, have some idea of what you're gonna do. Obviously, you're picking a major that can change your life for the next, for the 4 years that'll change your life for eternity.
right.
But so that's what really knocked me down about the whole tough situation I was telling you
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I really thought that I was gonna, settle for that Division 3 offer, which like athletically,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't necessarily my goal, but Tufts being such a prestigious school,
Yeah.
like that it would be stupid to not take that offer.
Right.
Which is why it was such a tough situation for me, because I was really invested in that,
Mm.
and it turned out to not work out.
Right. Right. I mean, you said college is like this decision for life, and like after, like, how do you approach that decision of college?
You're asking the wrong person for that one. I have no idea. I'm all over the place. Like, I don't think you really can, because you see people. So my dad, for example, he went to UMass and studied civil engineering.
Mm-hmm.
He has that degree, but then he got his MBA, opened his own business, and now he sells jewelry and writes grants. That's not
There you go.
civil engineering.
You go UMass Amherst? Where do you go?
Yeah.
Because my dad went to UMass Amherst, got a psychology degree, and now he's a computer guy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like, and you know what I mean? Like,
So it won't necessarily be the job you have, but like putting an 18-year-old to make that decision where they think it's going to be for the rest of their life
yeah.
puts a lot of stress on
Oh, yeah.
themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You see these kids that they're like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be a doctor, like.
How the fuck do you know that
good,
shit, dude?
Like, good for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy that you know that, or
Think you know
you're gonna
that?
pursue that.
Yeah.
But like, I have no idea what I'm
Right,
gonna do.
right.
I don't know if I want to, be like in business, or if I want to do something else, or I have no idea.
Right, right. That's the freaking thing. Is like, these. It's so strange, and I wanted like. This is a really weird time to be growing up.
Yeah.
Like already, I think senior year is like important time,
Mm-hmm.
and you think you get sentimental, like I've been growing up with these people, but like that was literally like taken away from us prematurely,
Yeah.
and like it's a weird time to be growing up already, and then you put in COVID, and then it just mixes everything up, and it's
Yeah.
like holy shit, dude. It's like I think it's really a difficult time to like gauge like what's right and what's wrong. But having that break for COVID, like 6 month break,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like let me realign, like realize like holy shit, like without school, friends, or work, like who am I?
Yeah.
And like that's where like this came from.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to say is that like I was looking at it as a decision, like oh my god, I need to decide what I'm gonna do for my entire life.
Yeah.
Like obviously I can't 17, I can't fucking do that.
Yeah. You can't make that
I
decision.
can't, no one can. And like already, like I talked to, I do scouts, like I said, and there's all these adults there. I talk to all of them, and they're like, I'm 52 guy, like, and I don't know what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
and like you would think they'd be the most put away, straight, figured everything out person. And it kind of makes you realize, like, for me, it's kind of nice to know that it's never, and hearing you talk about it as well, it's nice to know that I'm not alone. And
Yeah.
like that, it really is like this decision that is kind of up in the air. And I think the right way to go about it is like, go for the thing that you are most interested in and most passionate about, and then just you work out the kinks while you're along the way.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, like the decision of college was, I like for the past couple of months, I was like, do I even go to college? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so great, like I don't even need to go to college. Like I can just do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was really like I was like going down that path of like, no, college is not what I should do. And I'm realizing like college is like 4 years for you to not fuck up.
Yeah.
And then you get away, and whatever you have, like your dad was a civil engineer, like my dad, whatever your degree is, you have a certificate that says I am a real person.
Yeah.
I'm a real person. I can do a real person job.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that you have a pass, like a pass for life.
Yeah.
And that's what it really is, honestly. But like, I don't know. I guess my question would be like I see college not as like academic, but also like social, and there's like all these
Yeah.
like, freaking things that go involved,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
It's the most expensive dating site.
yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah. And so what it's like, I heard someone said like it's the best way to go in debt. That's what they said. Like
It's a great way to go in debt.
right, right. And it's like
But
you're saying,
also the same thing with student debt though. It's not like a bad debt. Like it's not the debt that you have to get rid of like right away. If you know what I'm saying. Like that's the debt that'll build like your credit and your background for a lot of things in life.
That's true.
Like so people think they have like this stigma around student debt that like you can't have it, but really that's what credit card debt you don't want.
I've actually never thought of it that way, but you're right. I mean, that's what my parents are trying to tell me, and I'm like, but that's a good point. It's actually a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because also like with student debt, you're buying an education.
right.
You think about it. You have credit card debt and you have student debt. Student debt, you're buying success practically. With credit card debt, you could be buying whatever bullshit that you want.
Yeah, like a freaking vibrator.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned success. Like I wanna in English class we asked like what is the like American dream?
Mm-hmm.
And this was really like I said, like over COVID I was thinking like by myself, isolated, like who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
What do I do? Like I don't want to just be playing video games all day.
Mm-hmm.
And like who am I? Like what is it that I should be doing? Is really the question that I was asking.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty important question to ask before you go off to college.
Yeah.
And like I want to ask you like for me, everyone wants success and like happiness. And those are two really huge
Yeah. For
huge
sure.
fucking words that I can unpack for hours. But like what to you is like what you wish for, like what you want out of college and out of life, like what if that's too big of a question,
I don't even know. Like I haven't thought that far ahead. I don't have any grasp on that. College is what everyone does. It's like everyone follows that. Everyone is probably going to go to college,
Mm.
or if not, they're going to go to trade or something else.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I really don't know what exactly I want out of college, but I know that I want to play football
Mm-hmm.
through college, and I want to have some sort of degree to set me up for, at least a couple years out of college, so I can build some sort of income, and then maybe I can start my own business or
Right,
something like
right.
that.
I mean, it would the dream to me is like being an entrepreneur, just like working for
Hmm.
yourself. Like that's the
Yeah.
dream. Buying a nice Porsche or something. You
Hmm.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Everyone wants to work for themselves.
Right, right. And it's like I have like this feeling that the American dream can be all these like different things. Like you either want the nice house and the kids and the family, or you want like just a job that makes a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And like for me, I feel like what is like the thing that will last for like the idea of what I want from life that will last forever is like the idea that I just want to be like satisfied with my work and
Hmm.
like feel like I'm doing something important
Yeah.
and like I feel like I want to bring football again, but like that's like a thing that you're really satisfied with,
Yeah.
and I just think like it's just I want to like just gauge like what other people are thinking. Really, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
And the American dream is just like I'm sitting here at the end of senior year.
Lost.
Well, like I'm just looking at it like holy fuck. Like, I mean, COVID definitely does have a spot in like how sentimental everything is. Like,
Yeah.
it really does have a place because we really lost like 40% of our high school. Like it ended.
Yeah. We lost a lot.
Yeah, we lost a shitload, and like, so, and I'm feeling like holy shit, like I'm at the end of 4 years. Like I thought this was gonna take forever, and now
Yeah.
I'm already done with it, and I'm realizing like, damn, life is gonna go by
Yeah.
quick.
You remember? I mean, I'm sure you remember walking in to the school freshman year, and like so
That's
overwhelmed.
my dad's coming. What are you saying?
Going to high school the first time your freshman year, and you're so overwhelmed,
Right,
and now we're about to be walking out the door.
right. Hang on, wait. I was in this PLT with Jaden Tucker, and like, he was a football kid. Like I'm like intimidated by this kid. Like
Yeah.
like, and I look over. It was like the last day of PLT after I've had PLT for like an entire quarter with this kid, and he was like reading this book, 7 Habits of Highly Successful
Yeah.
People, and like that's a book I would read because like everyone's trying
Yeah,
to like,
no,
get on their
dude. Me
grind.
and Jaden we've been on like that same type of thing. We read these books about like improving yourself and
Right.
and just like the mental health and whatever, how success,
Right.
all these things, and he'll come over to my house and lift, and we'll just talk about this stuff for hours.
Right, and that's really interesting because like that is like an aspect of something that I'm trying to tap into with like doing this,
Yeah.
doing my runs. Like I'm saying, like
Mhm.
I'm doing like these monthly, like that's what I'm trying to tap into. I'm trying to tap into this like ability for me to, not just be the kid who is like maybe introspective and like is sentimental, but like also be the kid who can work hard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I value hard work,
Mhm.
and like I said, the American dream. Like this is like the shit. Like you have an idea, like you said, you don't know what college is gonna be, but you can see yourself working for yourself and
Yeah.
down the line.
Mhm.
And I think like the root of that is like trying to build a good foundation for that was just we have a
Mhm.
it's like we have all these fucking things around here. Hang on, but hang on, let me get these lights on. I just realized I didn't turn on the lights, and so we had shitty lighting this whole time.
Whatever.
But this is actually really interesting because like I thought I was like the only kid who like was into like self-help
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
development, but like here I like fucking Jaden Tucker's here like
Yeah.
reading shit. I'm like, whoa, that's fucking awesome.
So, yeah, a lot of people will look at those kids and they'll look at me and not think that we have these same goals.
Right.
So the thing about me and Jaden is like we're really like we're in tap with each other's like like our mental just where we are, and like we get that in each other, and we're always talking about like the businesses,
That's dope. That's dope.
like these strategies for the rest of our lives. And so for college, for him, dude, it's actually a good point. So he wants to go to CC for the free 2 years, and then go to Bryant URI, because he's now realizing how he wants to, really improve himself academically and get in the right spot, and
That's
put him
awesome. Oh
to
man, that's
put him into
awesome.
success for the rest of his life.
Right. That's so amazing. I mean, this is what's so cool because you can quickly like I said, like I know all these like he's he's a cool kid. Like I have all these stories like this. I have this image of who Jaden Tucker is.
Yeah.
Just like I have an image of who Max Rome is. Like I'm saying, like this is why I wanted to talk to you. And like here I was, like feeling like intimidated by him, and then I look over, he's reading a fucking book. I'm like, yo, like while I'm reading my book, and I'm like, that's fucking
That's
awesome.
just about also about improving yourself, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like it was just that is what's so I think really cool. I think like with COVID, honestly, a lot of people are trying to better themselves.
Yeah,
And
just
like,
sit down and really start soul searching for themselves.
oh yeah, and like I think that's like I'm getting chills right now. Like that's it's so shitty right now with fucking not like it is. I was hanging out with Alex Ong and Jack Bowmore yesterday,
Yeah.
and like that's a little squad, and like we like to hang out, talk about shit, and what have you. But we're just saying like fuck, we can't see all the cute chicks in class anymore because like half of them aren't even there, and like everyone's behind a mask, and like you can't. I don't. Jack's a B last name, so I can't see him. You know what I mean? It's like all the shit. Like fuck, this sucks. This sucks. This sucks. We don't have advisory. Our class.
Yeah.
And so all that sucks. But I think the amount of like introspection where the time for thinking is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I've been doing the same thing for myself. I try and sit down at least 20 minutes a day or so, and just read or a chapter of the book I'm reading. I've been reading Think and Grow Rich. I don't know if you've heard about that book.
No.
But it's a really interesting book about all like a bunch of the richest people in the world, and how they all managed it through Andrew Carnegie's Secret to Success. But the really interesting thing about that book is it won't state the secret. It won't say like this is Andrew Carnegie's secret to success. So what that book does is it really makes you think and read and interpret the book and this guy's perspective.
I mean,
if you're looking for a really good book that really really wants to like jog your memory and start like getting you thinking about your own success and the path you want to get on, I think that's a really good place to look.
I actually just read. Do you know the book Outliers?
I haven't, no.
Oh, I have it over there. It's it's this author Malcolm Gladwell. He's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People is a very famous book.
Yeah.
This book Outliers is like famous in the same way, and it's Outliers, the story of success. And it doesn't talk about how you can improve yourself. It's not like that. It's just explaining how. Do you know the 10,000 hour rule?
No, I don't know.
Oh, so there's the rule, and it was by this author who popularized.
Oh wait, spend 10,000 hours at something, then you master it.
Exactly. And so like it's like stuff like that. How you look at Bill Gates and Andrew Carnegie was in that book as just he was the second richest person ever.
Yeah.
And there's like all these things that you begin to look at. That book was showing you that what Bill Gates is a smart person. Andrew Carnegie is probably a smart person.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Gates is genius level IQ and stuff, but it's not just that.
It's not just your academic power is what you're saying.
Exactly.
That's the same. Think and Grow Rich outlines the same thing.
Right.
It's not how smart you are. It's not how good you are in school. It's how you take your business model and push it onto those kids that do work like that and hiring those people.
Right. I mean, that's this book was explaining like what made the individual like so prominent. There's an outlier. What made them an outlier?
Yeah.
And it was a combination of opportunity. Bill Gates was born in an amazing family and was born at just the perfect time to be successful for a computer guy. He was 1955, so he could.
So all that stuff is starting, and he's like at that age 20 where you can start doing it.
Exactly. And so it just like paints this picture. And like for me, I read it and I was like, I do modestly well in school. I don't have amazing grades, but it's like I've always thought of myself as more academically inclined and thought that was gonna like be what kind of carried me. But I'm realizing like, damn,
it's not what you need at all.
It's not what you need at all. And like for me, I look like where I live, like the things that are just available to me,
Yeah.
the community I live in, I'm realizing like our opportunity is so far beyond what most people have. And it's like, that's where like this interview, talking to you right now, doing those runs I talk about, like I'm just trying to tap into like the opportunity that I have to like maximize what's available to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's really amazing to hear like you and Jaden doing that. Like that is so like inspirational. It's like it's like heartwarming in a way. Like that I just love that the people in my community are like invested in that as well.
Yeah, invest in themselves.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so going back to that academic success thing. So in Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter. I don't remember the exact name of the chapter, but there's an excerpt about Henry Ford and him going on trial for like some scandal, right? And what they're saying is like he's not smart, he's not a genius, and they start asking him all just like trivia questions, and he goes, it's about intelligence, right? And so he says, the gist of it is like he says to the lawyer that's asking him, like who's like like the 20th president of the United States. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, so like that's what they're trying to say, that he's not smart, he's not a genius, or he's not intelligent. And what he does, he says, I wish I had the quote from the book because it's really powerful. He says, my intelligence is what all the people that work for me have, because he hires people that go to Harvard, so he has. So pretty much what he said to this lawyer is, I could get one of my employees and have him answer it for me, and that's intelligence.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's all at the tips of his fingers,
Right. He put himself in the position. I have Henry Ford has some amazing quotes about like hard work. It's dude, like hearing your voice without the mask on is so much clearer. So much. Oh my god, I miss that.
I know.
That's fucking mask. But he there's what you realize, and like this is something because I started playing guitar over quarantine.
Yeah.
And this is actually really important.
God.
I was playing guitar, and I was like really fucking shitty. Like obviously you're just starting off, so you're bad. And I was like looking at Pink Floyd lead guitarist David Gilmour. Fucking love that dude. And he's playing. I'm like, holy shit.
Like absolutely ripping. You're like, how can I possibly get to that level?
And I'm like, I want that so bad. And so I started practicing and like can't play this chord, can't switch here. And like I'm realizing like, damn, David Gilmour started off not knowing how to play the simple chord. And it's like when you realize that, for me, what went through my brain was like, I kind of tend to write like the Bill Gates and the David Gilmours, the Henry Fords off as like they were just born that way. You know? They were just born with that ability to be the insanely successful people that they were. And what I was realizing was like, holy shit, they just worked at something. Like they just work and like were aware of like their abilities. They were confident in themselves, and like they were like aware of like this and that, and they just were consistent and worked at something. Yeah,
they found something that they had and they put all of their will towards their thing, and they worked at it constantly. And that's where they came from. They didn't. Henry Ford didn't come from being a billionaire.
No, not at all. Right. It's like it really has changed my perception of like what makes someone successful. And so I gave the Outliers book. I mean, it's amazing. It's really, really well written. I was in love with it. Highly recommend it. But I gave it to Alex Ong, and because Alex is a dear friend of mine, and he's going to fucking Brown. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck? That's like the most insane opportunity right there. It comes from an amazing family.
Yeah.
And the book is about opportunity and about like taking advantage, really, and like taking hold of that. And so he's been reading it, and it's just like my hope is that, well, not my hope, but it's what you can do with that. Like, he goes to fucking Brown. Alex, it can do literally, like, it's not just academics. It's like about like the hardworking person behind it. And it's like, I always thought Alex was just like smarter than me. Like my entire childhood, I feel like I've always been like had to compensate. Like whenever I'm hanging out with him, I feel like this like imbalance of power. because he was always like just like fucking smarter, better grades. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like now he's like a swimmer and a fucking athlete, and like he's so fucking good looking, and it's like all these things like that, like, you know. And like I was like, damn, like you can get like down in the dumps and jealous, but I'm like, hold up, he's just as
you can
smart.
do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like it's literally he was just from a very early age was encouraged to like just try hard, and it's like that ability to like believe in yourself. And like I can list so many names right now from our school that like I just know there's so much more potential in that person than they believe.
Yeah.
And like the only person that's gonna get them to wherever they want is themselves.
Yep.
And they just don't believe in that ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's so exciting. That's the reason I keep talking. Like, it's such an exciting thing to feel like your own potential. And
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, when you start realizing that you can work just as hard as people, like you're not gonna stop.
Yeah. It's like addicting in a way.
Yeah.
For me, like, yeah, I want to talk like Elena Minerick.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would love to like talk to her because she is like she's probably the valedictorian, right?
Yeah, sure.
She's probably
all I remember about that girl is that one of my first days at Wickford Middle School.
Yeah.
In English class, we there was like a homework assignment where like you like answer all these questions like 2 or 3 sentences, and everybody had to like correct their like each other's, and I got paired up with her, and she had like 17 pages of answers, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Like I mean at the time it was ignorant, but like
right. Sixth grade.
No, 8th grade.
Oh, 8th grade. We're little kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, at the time I'm like, what the hell? Like, I will never do this.
Right.
But like that's just her inclination to work harder.
Right, and I would really because who I see her as is just like she's really quiet. I've never really heard her speak. And like I know there's just so much that goes on behind the curtains, and like that.
Yeah.
She is like so far and beyond the hardest working and it's like for her it's like it's like probably with Alex I talk to him all the time about like how he got to be in Brown. Like it was never a question. Both his parents went to Brown, his sisters went to Brown. Like it was never like he never had to question his hard work. It was just what he did, and it was just like part of his nature to do that. And like for when he had that out of the way, he was able to do other things like play sports and do this and that. And I really am curious, like, what makes like Elena and like people like that like so hardworking and like always been naturally inclined to do academic stuff.
Yeah, that's a great question. My mom came up from a really bad opportunity, and she was graduated top of her high school class, went to Yale.
Really?
And now she works at Brown.
Really?
So
that's awesome.
And she didn't come up in a good opportunity from her family. Her brother didn't do well in school. Her sister didn't necessarily do well either. But she just worked her ass off and she got good results.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta ask you though. I see on your story like you have like this neon sign of like hustle and all that.
Yeah.
Shit. For me, it's really like romantic to like think about all I have to do is just work hard, and like then I think like oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. But and this is the monthly challenges. Like I'm trying to force myself to do hard shit. And last month I was trying 2 months ago I did waking up at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, and like I did the whole thing. Part of another reason is to try to make videos for YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I did the whole thing, and what I found, like I tried to carry it on, but I was just I was just down in my dumps, and so I had to like let it go.
Yeah, you like crashing at like 1 o'clock.
Right. And it's like, for me, the idea of like hustle, this, it's really like romantic, and I love the idea, but I feel like I had to like give up on it. And that was what's so hard. Like I was beating myself up for like weeks because I didn't want to give up, because the whole idea is you just don't give up.
Yeah.
And so I got to ask you, like, how do you find the balance between like pushing yourself but also knowing when to relax and enjoy your own time?
So so the whole thing, like, I got that sign just because it looks cool.
Yeah. I respect that. We got the computer sign right there.
Yeah. Right? But that's a good point. Knowing when to relax, knowing when to take a rest day. or knowing when to just back off can be a really challenging thing. So right when we got sent out of school, gyms got shut down, everything
Yeah.
got shut down. So Donovan would come over to my house for like 6 in the morning. We'd lift, then we go to Exeter and run up the sand dunes for until school started at 7:30 in the morning.
Wow. Damn.
So, but that dude, that killed us. We'd be absolutely dead. But we had nothing else to do. We had nothing better to do. But now, so
That's really dope. That's like mad respect for that.
yeah,
Mad respect.
those were tough. Those were tough days.
It-
Tough to wake up for that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, no. Now it's like I'm in the track season, and I have all this weight equipment. It makes me want to lift all the time
Yeah.
because it's like an output, to release stress, and just like work on yourself. That like working out and exercising is the ultimate way to work on yourself, I think, because you're gonna see physical changes,
Mm, mm.
and you're gonna be lifting more weight, looking better. But so at the start of the track season, I would wake up in the morning, you lift before my first class, go through school, go to shop at practice, throw a heavy ball for like 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
lift again with the team, and then go home, and then at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, lift again. So
Damn.
now,
Damn. That's so much lifting. Holy shit.
so it was just like it's like I get bored, and it's like it's all I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
But and then also at the same time, like when I'm resting, and I had to say to myself, like, I gotta stop doing this. I have to rest more. I can't be doing this so much
Right.
because you start to see your muscles are always tired. Your body's always tired. You want to take a nap 24/7. You want
Right.
to eat 24/7 because you're just constantly burning calories. But coming back to your actual question of when to know when to stop, you really just have to force that on yourself. Some people, I feel like for myself, it's almost harder to take a day off than to go lift or
Yeah,
go
yeah.
work out
Yeah, exactly. That's
because it's just like I love it. I love to
it's
do
part
that.
of who you are.
Hmm.
It's your nature to, it's your identity.
Yeah.
And I had one of my buddies from, he was an Eagle Scout, and he goes to the Naval Academy now, and it's a 4% acceptance rate or some
Yeah.
stupid shit. Like, he's just an excellent person,
Mhm.
And I was talking, at Naval Academy, he did a 47-minute plank.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to upload that interview, but like I have my own things with that. But like he did a 47-minute plank, and you're like, how the fuck do you, like he has it was like competition is another guy that he was
Yeah.
going against, but for him he was saying like he just struggles. Like he was home for that when I interviewed him, he just struggles with like just relaxing and laying back and kicking back
Yeah.
because like it is ingrained if you're like in the military.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it is ingrained in you.
It's just absolutely like it's like branded into your head.
Yeah, like that neon sign of hustle is like part of your DNA at that point.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It's
Mhm.
exhausting. And he didn't really have an answer for like where you stop and where you keep going. And
Mhm.
I by virtue of growing up, I hope to find that out and like figure out like where I'm comfortable with like pushing myself and where I'm
Yeah.
not. And like these monthly challenges, as I'm finding like for me personally, is an amazing way to find that. And that's my like wake up before school and go on sand dunes. Like
Yeah.
that's like I'm sure like when you were doing that, you were like, look how fucking badass I am. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing this shit.
No,
And,
we
like,
love that, dude. It was
yeah.
like it was exactly what we wanted to be doing.
Right, and you're like, no one else is out here doing this shit. Like
Exactly.
And that's
And
what it feels like.
it's also having someone else to do that with, like, and it's someone that's waiting on you. It's like there's accountability that goes with that.
100.
Like you have, if
100%.
like one time I remember, so Donald obviously comes from Narragansett, comes to my house first.
Oh, really? He lives in Narragansett?
Yeah, he lives
Oh,
far.
no.
So I remember one time I missed my alarm, dude, and I woke up like half an hour late, and I had all these texts from Donald. Like I was like, shit, like I just like blew him off because I didn't wake up, and that's a terrible feeling,
Yeah. And what you learn from that is that just fuck, I'll do that again.
Yeah, accountability.
Right.
He was waiting on me.
Right. I really I just didn't know these things about you that you like were the type of person who would like wake up before school to get in like
Yeah.
workout. And it's just
It's
that common?
I don't know. I don't necessarily know, but I feel for me, it's just such a good feeling,
Hmm.
and it's like like I feel like I have more energy after after I finish showering after I'm done with a workout or something, and I feel more ready to go to school and to
Take
be
on the day.
be engaged in
Yeah.
school.
Right. I'd feel more alive. Like I just saw, you know, Jaden was reading that book, and like, you know, you're saying that you guys work out together and talk about like strategies and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. You're talking about Donna. It's like, wow, like these are people that I would have never thought would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like, I'm like, damn, like all these people are doing this shit. Like, who, is this common? You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't think so. So what me and Jaden when we started like when we started like working out, it would just be like we worked out. But then one day it just came up like, and then we realized we are both doing this,
mm,
and you know, like Donna wasn't necessarily doing that like with the books and stuff, and like, but he's part of our friend group, and it's like a different dynamic. It's interesting because you have one person who you work out with,
mm-hmm.
put in work, and then that same person you can talk about all these like really deep like success
Yeah.
stories and like things that are really important to everybody's life.
Right. I mean, that's a good friend right there. It's like,
Yeah,
that's what that
exactly.
is. Yeah. I mean, like, that is, I envy that, you know? Like, that's like, what do you guys, like, if you don't mind me asking, like, is it just the idea of, you know, success in the future? Or like, do you talk about, my whole thing is that I can sit here and daydream about, like, what I want to become. You know,
Yeah,
maybe my version of what my dreams are.
everybody can.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, you know, and then you look at like, look what I've done, like, but you say like don't focus on the outcome.
Hmm.
So how do you like balance like, you know, focusing on the future to set yourself up, but also like being a realist right now and like stay in the moment?
So I feel like the working out aspect that keeps us grounded to what we are doing, right in the moment. But then, we're talking about like all these business strategies, like, or if we opened a business or something, we'll just talk about that, and like what we would do, how we would do it,
Hmm.
and things like that.
That's really interesting, dude. That's so fucking like I. This is exactly why I wanted to talk to you, like just uncover things I never knew about you,
Yeah.
and it's just like makes me like respect you more as a freaking person. It's
Hmm.
like that is,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah. I mean, this is like for me. I had Jackson on, and that was like
Yeah.
a real
Yeah,
important thing for me.
that must have been really interesting.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, for me to be able to first off learn more about autism and like in a kid from our school, but also to share it with people and like for them
Hmm.
to, and like that was kind of like a glimpse of like maybe I want to do more of this, and I am trying to, by virtue of talking to you right now, like I feel like I'm getting in touch with that again,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to stay consistent with it, and like you're saying, like working out is a very just go do it.
Yeah.
These doing interviews is very much more difficult to like be consistent at
Yeah.
in a way, but I have you got to find an angle with everything.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, you're never gonna regret being consistent with something. Like you're just not. It's not something that you're gonna be upset with unless you're like doing heroin. That's
Right. That actually, yeah, unless you're doing just heroin, why did I stop? Because I went like consistent for like a couple, like 6 weeks. I just did one every weekend,
yeah.
and then I was like, oh, I have to edit these. Like I can't keep doing them if I have other
Yeah.
ones.
So then you also have to find a schedule. So
Right.
so maybe consistent isn't every week, but maybe consistent is every week. Edit it, get it to where the point that you're happy with
Mm.
that and that you're not overwhelmed with another one that you have to do right after. So maybe that's what consistent is for you. It's
Mm.
not necessarily waking up at 5 a.m., working out. Consistent can be it can be one thing that you just work towards, not necessarily every day, but like consistently working towards it, on a scheduled basis.
Right. Right. That's something that I this is like a weird like dilemma that I'm having, but I am doing like I did guitar an hour a day for a month,
Yeah.
and like it was a weird ass month. I was it was weird, um, and now I'm doing running, and like these are things that like fuck I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? It's gonna snow. I don't want to fucking go out and run.
Yeah,
But
but I guarantee you after you go on that run, you're going to get back and you're like, wow, I feel good about myself
Right.
that you just did that.
And my point though, like, is that I get the endorphin rush, and then I'm like, damn, I just did something that's hard, and I did that. But when it comes to actually doing like what's really important to me, which is like the interviews and the video making, like that's
Yeah.
actually what you're saying.
Something
Like
you
that
really,
one
really
thing,
enjoy.
like you're saying, like football is that one thing that is like the root of that's like the basis of your confidence and like your personal like your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, like what I'm finding is like I am trying to grow this into that basis,
Yeah.
and I'm putting the work in all these other things, but I'm not putting in the work in there. And like then I have like I'm like, am I scared or something? What am I fearing? Like, why am I being a bitch about this? And it's
Yeah.
like, but I really love your way of just like, you gotta make it work for yourself, and you can't be too hard on yourself.
You can't.
And
You know, you can go and try to do this every single week, but then I'm sure you're eventually gonna find that you're incredibly overwhelmed. You know.
yeah, yeah, and that I look at Sean Dempsey. It's kind of cool. Like we literally live in like a neighborhood town where people are doing shit. So dope.
Yeah.
Like this is why I said this common because you're doing with Dono and Jaden good weightlifting and shit like that's so dope. And I look at Sean Dempsey's out here doing a consistent podcast every
Yeah.
2 weeks, like doing shit like that's fucking amazing, like inspirational as hell. And then I see other people like so many kids are starting their own things. And,
Yeah, and then also like so many kids are screwing off. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, you know, and that's a confusing thing too because like it hurts me. I'm like, aren't you aware of like you're coming from such an amazing neighborhood? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's why it's like I said, it's inspirational to hear you guys doing this shit. But my point is like, look at Sean. Like, how has he been able to stay consistent at something? Because he's in like the same realm that I'm in. Like we're trying to make videos and stuff, and so I'm just trying to like take a page from him and like. It doesn't seem like I have to completely overwhelm myself with stuff to
Yeah.
like, find my success and like crack through somewhere.
It's not gonna be overnight.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You know,
Right.
maybe even do even less than once every other week. Maybe you do, you know, a podcast every month, and then work really hard at making that one video or podcast, or maybe you have a video like a short video and then the podcast every month or something. But you constantly work at just those for the whole month and get them to the absolute like tip top shape you can have them at. You know that quality of work will definitely pay off instead of just overwhelming yourself with so much like extra shit.
Yeah, and I mean that's what it's all a balance. Like I said, it's balance. It's all this like gotta find who I am in between all of this stuff. And I'm doing the monthly challenges, trying to make those into videos. I'm doing interviews, trying to make those into videos.
Yeah.
And I have other videos that I want to just make for video sake. So 3 like just, and I'm not doing any of it because I'm just completely like inundated with shit. And it's really like relieving like hearing you just break it down. Like, hey man, you just gotta be a little nicer and like figure it out. Like,
yeah, you gotta be
take your
easier on
time.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like nothing's gonna happen overnight.
Yeah, I mean that's 100%. Like this is why you read these like books. This is why I nothing happens overnight, and it's trying to build myself into the person I want to be. And I mentioned you're doing the exact same. That's what it is. How old are you? 18?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we're at the beginning of it all.
Yeah, we are.
And that's like what's so fucking like it's either scary or like fucking.
It's easy to get overwhelmed because you can look at your whole life ahead of you and you have so much to accomplish and so much time to do it. But it's also really important and really impactful that we're doing this at 18, because we're realizing right now that we can start doing this now. We don't have to wait until we're out of college.
Facts. That's exactly what this is. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
And I feel like in some ways, like without COVID, without being shut in alone, I wouldn't have started doing this. But at the same, I hate COVID. I hate all this bullshit that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I ever would have, had that same connection with, with Jaden or with myself.
Right. That's what, it's so weird. And I thought I was the only one who had, like, for me, it was literally like a 6-month pause on life.
Yeah. I mean, it still is.
Life. Yeah, it's still fucking weird. But it's like the ability to just think about the real questions, and for us to be so young. Like, I'm thinking about the outliers right now. The idea of that book that I was saying, Bill Gates was born at the right time. Like, what if we were born at the right time? You know what I mean? Like, right time to grow into being the people that we want to be. So many people around us are, really trying to work hard at that.
Yeah. And like we do have a ton of opportunities. You think about it, e-commerce is huge right now.
Mm.
Like, you can start a business incredibly easy, like just on your Chromebook.
That's true. You can do it on your iPhone. That's
Yeah.
what everyone said. I mean, like that's, Sean Dempsey. I started this with recording with my phone. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's what. It really is amazing, and it's honestly like gives me so much more. Like, not just faith, but like happiness that it's. I thought like I was alone with this, but hearing you run these sand dunes, it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go, dude. It seems like we're in this together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's just trying to pave their way to be the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And it's so like, where does this come from? Where does that come from? Like, is it?
I don't know. But it's also, it's painful to see that people aren't doing that.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
see some people, they're bumming, they're doing nothing. They're like completely lost.
and does that frustrate you? Like, to the point where like you would want to like do something about it?
Honestly, it doesn't bother me at all because I know what I'm doing for myself, and I know how, that I'm gonna find a way to be successful one day. And if they want to wait to do that, then that's completely on them.
And to me, like, I used to see my friends, like, I could name names, but this is public, so but like,
Yeah.
like I know a lot of kids around me who I just see so much more potential in, and like wish that, and like I've tried to encourage them to do more.
Yeah.
But it's really not appropriate for me to do that because it's not my life and it's not my position to tell them what I wish they could do.
I had a situation where I sat down with one of my friends, and I confronted them about it, and it was a really difficult situation because it's like it's an unrealistic goal that they had, and I hated every single second of that conversation.
Yeah.
But it's necessary, and if you can do that, that when you for a fact when you can sit down with your friend like that and have a conversation and it's one-on-one and it's actually meaningful, that it's a real friend. And
Yeah.
If they push you away, then that's whatever, that's on them. But if they're gonna sit down and listen to you, then you have a real relationship with them.
That's that's really important to hear from me right now. Like, I just know so many interactions that I have where like I always wish for more, and I feel like there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot like, what the hell is that? Oh, it's someone driving up our road again. Some weird noises, dude. But like, it's just important to know who you can talk to about this shit. I don't know. I feel like we keep running in circles talking about the success and all this stuff. I guess like wrap this up soon, but where do you like see yourself? And I know this is kind of a difficult question, but like 5 years down the line, or maybe if you want to switch.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself?
That's always a hard question for anyone, but I think the best answer to that is that I see myself still working towards whatever I see fit. Like you can't put yourself like, oh, I see myself as a CEO.
Yeah.
How are you gonna get there? So I just see myself still focused on me, and not anything outside of that. And that's just me working on myself and my brand how I want to.
Right. I have a few questions about that. Some might argue saying like working out is like it's about yourself.
Yeah.
My mom is a very big anti. Like, it's weird. She's like anti-working, like bodybuilding. She's not anti-working out. She's anti-bodybuilding.
Okay.
Because she's like, it's the most selfish thing you could do to just like work on yourself. And what would you like? For me, I understand the argument, but I also it frustrates me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like you're working on yourself. Like, it's important to give yourself some time.
Well, I don't want to like make any assumptions about your mom, but
Yeah.
that could just she could have had like a bad some sort of bad interaction with that.
Yeah.
But I feel for me, and maybe it's just like her personal opinion, just how she she truly feels. But I feel for me, it's like an output to relieve my stress, and to stay focused. Because like in school, I'll literally be thinking about, getting out of school and going to track and lifting. And like that's just something that's embedded in my brain and that I just like do every day.
Right, right. Man, it's so interesting because where do you like get this like passion to want to like be more?
I think
Because I'm trying to find like where do I get it too?
for me, it's about the people in my life and the coaches I've had. So Coach Gilmartin, such an inspirational, such a good coach to have because he would wake up at 4 in the morning, go fish, and then be back at the school in the summer, to open the weight room and to have us lift and have us run and work out. So that for me was a really inspirational thing, and it's something that got me focused in work ethic. That's a really big thing. And
That's
then
so awesome.
so and then also so my track coach, Coach Amo, no one knows him because he's not a teacher. But he's a really good guy, man, and he pushes me to work on myself and to hold our team accountable, hold myself accountable for going to lifts and going to practice and not skipping when he's not there, and keeping everyone focused. And like that, I think that my relationship that I have with him is a really good one because he understands where I want to go athletically and socially a little bit, and he can push me there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a really amazing foundation to have that. It's like your guidance.
Yeah.
Like I find that my parents like my parents are really trying to like they see this like passion in me and like try to guide me in the right direction. I freaking owe so much to them, and it's like to have that guidance is so crucial.
Yeah. So also the other thing is I think having that accountability or seeing work ethic in someone else that's actually not your parents will almost impact you more. So coming back to the actual question you asked, I don't know how you would find that for yourself, because for me, it's just embedded like over and over and over. Like I see it in coaches, I see it in other athletes that I'm working with, and that I have to meet that expectation, and I have to work just as hard as the other athletes are if I want to be better than them.
Yeah, I mean, and so this is where like, because I see it a lot in my sister. She she was gonna go to college and it was some bullshit art school for like $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
Said screw it, I'm going to gap year in Germany for a year.
Yeah.
And so she did that and like reapplied and she got into her number one reach school for like $7,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah, and
wow.
so and it was because of like she took a risk going to Germany and it's like she's really like groundbreakingly if that's the right, she's really inspirational to me.
Yeah.
In a similar way, I feel that Coach Gilmartin is, because she like it was like one day she was like, you know what, I just want to do this.
Yeah, I think it's really important to observe that work ethic. However that may be for you. Maybe there's some podcaster guy that you watch, or
I mean there is.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
But not necessarily watch to listen to the podcast, but to see how they work.
Pick up on it, yeah. And absorb.
I feel like there are people. I'm sure there's people on the internet that'll like let you in like to how they like run their stuff. There's not just like the Joe Rogan that you're just gonna see the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Or like you can. I'm sure you can find inspiration in how other people work.
Right. I mean, this is what that talking to you is like. I'm just trying to pick up on like how you tick, and like what makes. And I think while we're discussing, like, the question was what inspires someone to work hard, and I think what it is like I look at my like my sister, and it seems like she is happier because she is working hard at stuff she's passionate about.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, half the time what I want to be doing is like eating snacks and playing Call of Duty. But like when I do that, it literally makes me miserable and I know I should be doing like a million other things. And
yeah.
It's like knowing that this is really for happiness. It's really for finding yourself and being satisfied with the time that you spent on Earth. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's really like, it can become a very existential question, like why do it? And it's
Yeah.
like, this is just how I'm going to spend my time, and I want to do it usefully. Seems.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of ways you can do that. You
Mm,
know, you
mm,
can, do what you have been doing, or I'm sure you could find something else. But
right.
I feel like if you continue with what you're doing, you're getting off of Call of Duty or whatever you're doing
Right.
more and focusing on yourself, or even if like you just shut it off for a couple hours a night and read instead,
Right. Yeah.
like you're gonna feel better about yourself, and
Oh, yeah, you do.
you'll be able to fall asleep quicker. You're not like fuck, why didn't I do this?
Mm.
And you'll have a sense of like that you did something.
Right. I mean, that's what it's for me, and I should be wrapping this up soon. So like, I'm trying to like, but it's just an interesting point that like I have been like, I don't play COD anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't even really sit down, like we're saying, I can't really sit down and relax and enjoy a video game anymore because I'm like, I should be doing other shit.
Yeah.
And so like I do read, and like I'm out doing what like runs and stuff. And the thing is, and I did guitar for a month, and it was really weird because I thought just by virtue of like playing an hour a day, like that would like fill me up with all this. That would be like the thing for the month, would be like, that's where my confidence comes from.
Yeah.
It wasn't at all.
Mm-hmm.
I was like playing for an hour, and I felt like I wasn't maximizing my hour, and then I was like feeling inadequate about that, and like self-doubting myself, and like it was
Yeah.
like this,
So that's another thing that I think, being an individual competitor, like since I'm a kicker, there's no one else on the field like doing that at the same time as me, or throwing the shot put, or discus or whatever. So so I really know how to get out of my own head.
you have any tips?
So so for me, if I'm really down about something, I'll just reset. Say I miss a kick or I had a really bad mark and shot put, I'll just try and reset myself. Focus on what I have to do, and then do it. So say I miss a field goal in a game or something.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm gonna be really pissed,
Yeah.
but I have to find a way to calm myself down, get myself to stop thinking about that and move on.
And so how you say you just reset? Like it seems easier said than done.
So for me, well, since it's like a specific thing, so since it's like I know exactly what I did wrong,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, all right, I'll go to the kicking net and fix that, and then I'll just move on. I'll tell myself I'm 0-0.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything wrong.
Mm.
But then I get home and I'm all pissed off about that,
Mm.
the miss. But so I think, so give me a situation like of something that gets in your head and.
Well, I mean, fuck. A lot of what goes on is today, for instance, I wanted to have that guitar video done.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking tried. Like I tried making scripts the entire week and tried sitting down and putting like every day, like working on it for like an hour, and I did for the most part.
Yeah.
Trying to be consistent, like we're saying, trying to be consistent, work hard at it, and I have nothing to show for it. Like
So
like I can be like, what the fuck, and like it.
So maybe what you need is something to release that stress. Like you're saying you're running. Maybe instead of running to do it for every 30 days, you're running to clear your head. And you can think about that. So on your run. So what I actually, something that I do for myself. So I'll go lift and I'll think about something that makes me really, really either pissed off or really upset. And then once I'm done, I'll be like, okay, now that I'm relaxed, now that like my mind's clear, now I can sit down and try this over again. It's not a big deal if you're gonna screw something up,
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly, and you're going to. So maybe instead of making a script and forcing yourself to say one thing too, maybe just try and sit down in front of the camera and say exactly how you feel instead of like, okay, like I have to memorize this or the video's gonna suck.
Right. And it's for me, it's kind of funny because people will like advise me like, hey, do this and that, and it's like I meditate every day. Like I meditate every day. I journal and I do everything. Like I try to stay fucking like
focused.
Right, and there's some sadistic shit that goes on. I like just fucking overthink everything. But I love that it is so amazing to hear you talk about. I would crumble if I fucking missed a kick.
Yeah.
I would crumble, and like I would, and what it is like last night I'm making questions like I was like fuck I like might get anxious. I don't want to get anxious, and then but the thing is like I was aware that if I get scared of being anxious, that will then be a self-fulfilling prophecy that will make me anxious. So it's like, there's a lot of shit that goes on. It's like a fucking crazy amount. But I love to hear that you just reset
have to
0-0.
Yeah,
like,
find something that's gonna reset your focus. And like I can't give you that, obviously.
I mean,
like that's something that you're gonna have to find for yourself. And I feel like it's obviously such a different situation for you.
Right.
But I feel like there's definitely something for you that you're gonna be able to do. You'll be able, whether that's you sitting down and relaxing, which you said you can't do.
Right.
But there's gonna be something you find eventually that you're just like, okay, I need to do this right now to feel better about myself, and then to refocus.
That's awesome, man.
Because like if you go on a run, dude. So say you go on your run, but you're not forcing yourself to run 4 miles every day. You're just going on a run for an output of your energy and your emotions.
That's another way to look at it. I mean, for me, the runs actually haven't been that bad because I just think it's like, for me, when I'm out there, I'm like, this is good. Like, I can do this. Like, I'm free. I'm not in prison. And that's the way I make it work this past couple of days. But I definitely, like, I have to finish up another run. Like, I'm going to definitely put that in my mind and see what happens.
So, try refocusing that, dude. Instead of, like, forcing yourself to do it, it's like, make it to something you want to do.
Right.
And maybe, dude, you keep doing these 1 month things, and then you find that thing.
Right. I mean, that's what I hope for.
Maybe meditating is causing you overthinking. Maybe journaling is causing you overthinking because you're trying to go back and think about the situation and think about, how it played out. But maybe you're doing too much.
Yeah. A lot of times I think about that, and then I think about like, oh, isn't it about hustle and like doing a lot of shit? What do you say to that?
I say no. I say your grind and your hustle is you working towards one thing, not a bunch of things.
Damn.
There's a bunch of things that go into that all have to do with that one final goal. So
I like that.
Say you have your meditation, your journaling, and your run that you're all like you're trying to do as best as you possibly can. But maybe you change that. You change the idea of all this. That your meditation, your journaling, and your run, helps you on your path to getting focused to finish your videos.
Yeah, man, you're right, dude. You're right. I agree with that. Like that is.
So you're just forcing yourself to do a bunch of stuff that you might not have the capacity to do, and then maybe once you figure that out, you narrow it down and you just do one of those things.
Right. I can say though, I agree with that. Some of the best advice I've heard in a long time, and I can say though I wouldn't have figured this out if I didn't do it in the first place.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have.
And
you would have known where to start.
Right, and I think I don't like it. Just being able to just start something and commit to it a little bit. And that's where these monthly challenges, just committing to 30 days of running, like it just kind of sucks in the middle, but like when you look at it, it's like, well, okay, what did I learn from that?
Yeah.
And like, it's really
it's awesome that you're doing all these things, but you have to look at it like, are you doing too much? Are you overworking yourself?
Damn, it's good to hear that because I would think you would be like, no, grind, and it's like really good to hear from someone that's not me, like reaffirm those like beliefs, and it's like, it's really good. Well, shit, man. We should probably wrap this up. Going on for an hour. And do you have any last words?
I got nothing if you don't.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, this was really fucking great, man. I really appreciate you coming out
no
here.
Problem.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna drive back in the snow.
It won't be too bad though.
Yeah, but thank you guys. Oh, the camera ended anyways. I think we ended at storage. Wow. Well, it's just the audio now. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, dislike it. Comments, questions, you know where to go.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, toodles.
See you later.